At the start of the series, the story is told to us by a narrator that our world used to be very simple, but suddenly dimensions from other worlds, portals started to open in this world, from which very powerful monsters emerged and started attacking the Earth. And as if that wasn't enough, suddenly near our Earth, another planet appeared which destroyed itself after some time, but many fragments of that planet came and fell upon our Earth. However, after this incident, our Earth changed completely. There were many things on Earth that started to evolve themselves, but at that time, the biggest problems were those creatures who, from other dimensions, had come into our world, and along with this, we are shown that a very powerful creature had killed many army personnel. That location. Along with this, we are shown an army officer here, who is quite terrified upon seeing that monster, and along with this, we are told about this monster which in reality is a B-rank monster. And while looking at this creature, that army officer was thinking, this creature's body is very strong and it is a B-rank monster, so will I, with just my guns, be able to defeat this monster? And at that moment we see that the monster very quickly, to attack that officer, moves forward, and that officer had also pulled out his gun and was firing bullets at the monster, but it was of no use, and that monster gives that army officer a very powerful punch and throws him very far away, because of which he became very badly injured. And we are being told humans were very weak at that time, because compared to those monsters their strength level was very low, and at that same time we were seeing that the monster had reached that army officer, and at that moment it once again attacks that army officer, but at that same time we are shown that that army officer with just one of his hands had stopped that monster's powerful attack. And along with this, it is shown to us that the army officer's strength slowly was increasing, and to stop his body's powers, the limits placed upon him, that person breaks all of those limits, and at that moment that person picks up the monster and slams it very hard onto the ground, and with just one attack he had killed that monster. And along with this, we are told that was the first time a person had directly changed into an S-rank hunter. And after that day the evolution of people started to happen, but it wasn't necessary that everyone had the exact same powers, rather every human had different powers according to their ability, and along with that all those people who possessed superpowers came to be known as hunters. And with this we are shown the present scene, where after school lets out some students who are going home are talking to each other. Today was quite a good day, but man, our teachers bore us way too much. Don't you think that they shouldn't bore us this much, and should let us go early? To which his companion says, stop your nonsense. We only come to school so that we can focus on our studies. But at that moment both students become quite surprised, and we are shown that many army vehicles are present here, and many students are sitting inside these vehicles. And seeing this, a boy says to his friend, listen brother, do you know why these students are sitting in these vehicles? And where are they going? Then that boy says, don't you know about this? All of these are students of Warrior High School, and for their exams, they are going to the dungeon, so that they can clear this dungeon and get high marks in their exams. Hearing this, that person says, oh yes, I have heard about this, but don't you think it's a bit too risky? After all, why do they send their students into danger when they have to fight against very powerful monsters there? Then that boy says, it's so that all these people can become very powerful hunters, and can protect their country in the future. At that moment they both see many girls praising a boy and saying, just look at how cool he is. He is so handsome. I have never seen a boy as handsome as him before. Along with this, that boy is shown to us, but seeing that boy among the students, his friend is quite surprised and says, brother, what on earth is this? Can you tell me about him? The boy says, idiot, don't you even know about him? This person is a mixed blood, meaning he is the child of an elf and a human. And with this information about this elf boy is shared with us, and this boy's name is Deo, who has returned from dungeons 14 times so far. And we see that one of those two students is getting quite angry looking at this boy, and he is saying, just look at these girls. They are all treating him as if he is some kind of idol. Now we should get out of here. I'm losing my mind just looking at them. Just then another boy arrives here, seeing whom the boy with glasses says, hey G, it's good that you came here too. Are you going to come play games with us? And with this our hero is shown to us. His name is Jay, and Jay says to them, "Sorry friends, I can't go with you. I'm a bit busy, you guys go ahead." Hearing this, one boy says, "What kind of work is this guy doing anyway? That makes him so busy?" His friend punches him very hard in the stomach, and the boy next to him says, "You idiot, how dare you say such a thing? Do you even know that Jay is a very hard-working person? His father's health is very poor, which is why he has to work part-time jobs, so that he can cover his own expenses and his father's medical treatments." Along with this, we see that Jay has received a message from someone calling him to work, and at the same time we see Deo, who is watching Jay. So Deo's friend asks, "Deo, what's the problem? Why are you looking at that boy like that?" Then Deo says, "No, there's no problem." And at the same time he is thinking, "I felt a different kind of aura. Was I just imagining things?" He is getting angry and says, "Damn it, I don't like working at all." And just then we see Jay walking along. There are some people present here who were waiting for him. He says, "So you finally arrived. Do you know how long our clients have been waiting for you?" Hearing this, Jay says, "Sorry boss, I'll make sure in the future that you don't have to wait." But at that moment we see that the bald person present there starts shouting at the boss and says, "What is this nonsense? You said you would call your best worker here, but this person is just a young boy. What do you think, am I some kind of fool? Maybe you don't understand. I told you that this is a very important mission, for which I need a very powerful fighter. Do you think this kid will be able to do this job for me?" Then the boss says, "Hey brother, why are you getting so angry? I told you this boy is my very best worker, and besides him, no one else can do this job of yours." But that bald person says, "Stop your nonsense, I don't trust you. What do you think, just because I gave you all the money in advance you can make a fool out of me? If you haven't called one of your best workers, then I will file a complaint against you. You will always keep regretting this. Why you messed with me." But along with this we see that Jay has taken off his jacket and he says, "Listen mister, you are getting way too angry. Well, I think that this bodyguard standing behind you must be an adventurer. Why not have a one-on-one match, through which even you will find out whether I am the best worker here or not?" Hearing this, even that bald person is quite surprised, and he says, "Do you really think that you will be able to defeat my bodyguard?" But we see that the bodyguard is quite excited at that moment and he says, "Sir, don't you worry, this kid is a bit too arrogant. I will definitely break his arms for you." And along with this we are told about this bodyguard, whose name is Lee, and he is a retired hunter who has returned alive from dungeons 81 times. After that we see Jay, who is looking towards his boss, but his boss is busy smoking a cigarette casually, after which Jay says, "I think my boss has no problem with our fight. Let's start our fight." And with this we see that Jay is releasing his aura, and along with this we are told about Jay, that Jay is a dungeon smuggler and he has illegally gone into and returned from dungeons 71 times so far. And along with this we are told that all the hunters there go into dungeons through legal means where they fight monsters, and after killing the monsters, whatever treasure they find, no person can keep all those treasures directly with themselves, and they have to submit all those treasures to the Hunter Association, after which the people of the Hunter Association, after imposing taxes on all the treasure and deducting the dungeon raid fees, they give a very small portion to the hunters, due to which hunters get very little profit. But there are also some people who never give their treasures to these association people, after which they sell all their treasures in the black market, and such people are called dungeon smugglers. After this, the present scene is shown to us, where we see that Jay and that bodyguard both have become ready to fight. And with that, the bald person says to the boss, "Hey, have you gone mad? My bodyguard has been an adventurer, and I have heard that when he was an adventurer he killed many of his team members just because those people wouldn't listen to him." Hearing this, Jay says, "You killed your team members just because they didn't listen to you? You really are a very scary person." But at the same time we see that the bodyguard has approached Jay, and he says, "Well, do you know, you are just trash." And hearing this, Jay is quite surprised, and he says, "Well, you gave the right name. You truly are trash. Don't worry, I will clean you up completely." And seeing this, the boss and the bald person are both quite surprised, and with that we see that Jay is insulting that person. But at that time that person But at that same moment, the bodyguard very angrily at Jay. We see that Jay very quickly lands a very powerful kick on that bodyguard's face, and we see that this kick is so strong that the bodyguard's entire body, with just one kick, was completely shaken and he received a massive shock. And with that he says, "Hey, what is this? Would you like me to translate the next set of subtitles for you? I haven't even warmed up my body yet, and your condition has already deteriorated." And we see that because of this attack, that bodyguard is also quite surprised, and he is thinking, this is no normal boy. This person is very skilled. Therefore I cannot take him lightly anymore. Otherwise I will lose to this boy, and I will be greatly humiliated. At that moment we see that person tear his shirt off. After that we see the boss who says to the bald person, "Think your bodyguard is getting quite angry because he has realized that he cannot defeat my worker." Hearing this, the bald person is quite surprised, and at that same time we see that this bodyguard has activated his full power, and he is greatly enhancing his body at this moment. And along with this, Jay is also quite surprised to see something. We are shown that this bodyguard has increased his body strength even more than before, and he has changed his body into iron skin. Along with this, that bodyguard says very angrily, "I will kill you," and at that moment that person launches a very powerful attack at Jay, but Jay very easily dodges that attack by jumping, and we see that this attack was quite powerful. Because of it, the entire ground there shook and that bald person is about to fall on the ground, but at that moment the boss catches him and says, "What on earth are you doing? Steady yourself because their real fight is about to start now." But along with this he says while getting angry, "I think these two bastards will destroy my work area. If that happens I won't spare them." After that we see that the bodyguard strikes Jay with a very powerful punch, but Jay very quickly, this attack is so strong that it broke the wall. "I will let it hit me to break it." After that we see the boss who, "Listen, if you destroy my work area, then I will deduct the money for this work area from your salary." Hearing this, Jay is also quite surprised and says, "I think I'll have to end all this quickly now." Besides that, the bodyguard says to Jay, "I think your boss trusts you a bit too much, but he doesn't know that I am going to beat you up very badly here." But at the same time we see that Jay pulls out an iron rod from here, and along with that he says, "I think this rod is enough to defeat you." Hearing this, the bodyguard says, "Stop your nonsense. Now I won't give you any chance to use your tricks." And he comes very quickly to attack Jay. But at that same time we see that Jay is using some technique of his here, and we see that when that person has come very close to Jay, at that moment Jay very rapidly moves toward the bodyguard and launches a very powerful attack on that bodyguard. And we are shown that when Jay performed this attack, a very powerful aura of Jay is released, which looks extremely powerful, and we see that Jay in just one attack has defeated the bodyguard. And seeing this, the bald person is quite surprised, and he says, "How is this possible in just one attack?" And along with this we see that the bodyguard is saying to Jay, "Boy, what kind of technique was that? Where did you learn it?" Then Jay says, "I think you're having a misunderstanding. I haven't learned it from anywhere. Rather, this technique I received in my inheritance." And along with this, Jay is thinking about his father here. And along with this, Jay is telling us, "When I was very young I had nothing to do back then, so I used to go and quietly watch my father while he was training, and I didn't watch him practicing his martial arts just because he is my father. Rather, I used to watch him because my father is none other than the person who started the hunters, because he was the first person." Would you like me to translate more of this story for you? Who had awakened their powers for the first time, and he is the world's #1 strongest and most powerful hunter. And when the fight between all humans and monsters took place, everyone thought that the powerful heroes defeated all the monsters, but no one knows that the first generation of hunters had to make many sacrifices that no one knows about. And along with this, we are shown that Jay's father and some other hunters in a dungeon are fighting against a very powerful monster. But at that moment the monster strikes all those hunters. The hunters who were present with them are all killed because of that poison, and because of this Jay's father attacks the monster, but they see that their opponent does not give up, and he shows the scene of death with his other weapon. It is shown that near this dungeon some others are seen who had come here just to help Jay's father. but they see that Jay's father had killed that monster all alone, and Jay is telling us, my father didn't just kill one monster, but he has killed thousands of monsters, among which very powerful dragons were also present. And this was the reason my father was given the title, because he had killed many powerful dragons in his life, and everyone was a very big fan of his, and every single human wanted to be like him. And this was the reason I always used to watch my father practicing martial arts. And that's how it was. We see that Jay's father uses a very powerful technique, and this technique is so powerful that seeing it, Jay is getting very happy. But at that same time we see that Jay's father starts bleeding very heavily here. And on that day, Jay received the biggest shock because the person whom everyone considered invincible, that person is going to die very soon. And along with this we see that Jay comes running to his father, and along with this he is telling us, from that day on my father's condition worsened day by day. My father had told me that he would get well soon, but that never happened, because his condition was deteriorating very rapidly. And at that time when his friends should have helped him, they completely refused to help my father. And not only that, but they took over all our property and all our assets. And from that day, along with my father's health, his mental state also started to deteriorate. And as time passed, everyone forgot about Dragon Slayer Yushin, and now no person knows about my father. After which the present scene is shown, where we see that the bodyguard is lying unconscious and Jay is just looking at him, after which Jay throws his weapon and leaves from there. And along with this, Jay's boss says to that bald person, now what happened to you? Why don't you say something? That bald person says, I thought my bodyguard was very powerful, but he lost to such a young boy. Then the boss says, I told you before that your bodyguard is quite strong, but he is not strong enough to defeat this worker of mine. And do you know why this person couldn't defeat my worker? He says those who are weak themselves show others that they are very strong. That is why he bullies people weaker than himself. And yes, one more thing, a hunter retires when he dies, or when he finds out that his body is very weak, and as a hunter, he won't be able to survive for much longer. After which the boss grabs that bald person by his shoulder and says, I told you already that this worker of mine is very good, and you deliberately wasted so much of our time. Now you will have to pay double the price for your mission. Hearing this, that bald person is quite shocked, and he shouts, what nonsense are you talking about? I am not going to pay you any double price. But at that moment we see that the boss is getting very angry at this bald person, and he is saying, I think you don't value your life. You have been annoying me for a long time. I think you don't want to go back to your home safe and sound. Hearing this, that person becomes quite terrified, and he says, Sir, you got angry at me. I was just joking with you. I am ready to pay you double the price. After this, the next scene is shown where we see that while Jay is drinking water, his boss asks him, Jay, do you know about the ethereal web? Hearing this, Jay is extremely shocked, and he says, the ethereal web? Boss, surely our mission isn't to fight that monster? Even you know that monster is very powerful, and that monster cannot be killed even by very powerful high-rank hunters. Hearing this, the boss says, idiot, I didn't say that you have to go there to fight that monster. I know that you cannot fight that monster, but what if a white-rank hunter fights that monster? Hearing this, Jay is quite surprised, and he says, what? A white-rank hunter? Then the boss says, yes, and not just one white rank. This bald person who came here gave me information that a few days ago, 7 very powerful white-rank hunters together hunted that ethereal web. And friends, here ethereal web refers not to anything else but the queen of the bee monsters. The boss says, that customer said that when those 7 white-rank hunters killed that monster together, they found royal jelly in its hive. But one of those white-rank hunters betrayed them. Would you like me to translate the remaining parts of this dialogue, or help you with a summary of the story so far? And he gave that royal jelly to a smuggler so that, by taking that jelly to the black market, he could get even more profit. But it was that person's bad luck that the smuggler he gave this job to was killed by monsters. And that royal jelly is still inside the dungeon right now, and I want you to go and bring back that royal jelly. Hearing this, Jay says, boss, even if I go there regarding that royal jelly, don't you think other hunters would have come to obtain it? Then the boss says, no, if anyone can come to take it, it's only smugglers, because real hunters need permission to enter dungeons. And yes, one more very special thing that I forgot to tell you. That royal jelly is so powerful that if it were given, even to a dead human, they would come back to life again. And hearing this, Jay is extremely shocked, and he says, wow. After this, the next scene is shown where we see that the boss is currently in front of a secret dungeon gate, and along with that, he uses his power to unlock the dungeon gate, and we are shown that Jay is also present here, and his boss is telling him, Jay, keep this in mind, it is royal jelly, so it's possible that the royal jelly might attract many monsters toward itself, so take care of yourself and don't put yourself into any trouble. But we see that Jay is not listening to anything he says, so seeing this, the boss blows his cigarette smoke right into his face, after which Jay says, boss, what are you doing? Then the boss says, I know what you are thinking right now, that royal jelly is a very powerful medicine, and even a dead person can be revived with it, but you cannot use this jelly. Your father cannot be cured with this jelly. Hearing this, Jay says, yes, I know, and stop telling me this. Anyway, Jay goes and opens that door. Anyway, he starts thinking, I know that royal jelly cannot cure my father, but I truly wished that that royal jelly could cure my father. But no matter how long it takes me, one day I will definitely find the antidote for the poison present inside my father's body. And with this, we see that Jay has entered this dungeon, and along with that, he is observing the area of this dungeon, and we are shown that this dungeon is actually located inside a very large city, and this entire city has completely turned into a forest. After which Jay's boss says, Jay, take care of yourself, I am saying it again. You are going for a very special mission, so don't distract yourself, because that royal jelly is very special. Along with this, the boss thinks not just the royal jelly, but you are also very special to me, so take care of yourself. Along with this, Jay says, boss, don't you worry, nothing will happen to me or this royal jelly. Along with this, we see that he jumps from the top of that hill with a rope, and he is falling downwards very rapidly, but we see that Jay makes quite spectacular entry into this forest, and he is thinking, this forest is truly very large. I will have to put in a lot of effort to go back. At that same time, Jay gets very shocked seeing something here, and we are shown that at the place where he is standing right now, there is a very large footprint of something present, and looking at that mark, he is thinking, now what nonsense is this? Will I have to fight this monster? After which the next scene is shown, and we see a girl in the forest who is very quickly running away to save herself from some monster, and at that time, that girl comes and hides behind a tree, and she is quite terrified at this moment, and she is thinking, would you like me to translate the next part of this encounter? This was just a test, but in this test, why is there such a powerful monster present here? And we are shown that monster, which actually looks very massive and powerful. And along with this, the narrator tells us about this girl, that this girl is a student of the country's biggest school, Warrior High School, and today there is an examination in their school. And this girl has come to this dungeon because of her exam test. And that exam test is that inside the dungeon many coins have been hidden, and all students in the given time have to find 2 of those coins and bring them back. And if all these students within the given time are unable to obtain those coins, they will all fail. But this girl was the most unlucky among all students because she faced a very powerful monster. At this time, we see that the monster has also spotted this girl and launches a very powerful attack at her. But this girl very quickly dodges that attack, and she is thinking, shit, I can't run away from this monster. This monster's speed is very fast, and it will catch me very easily. I must defeat it somehow. And at that moment she gets her 3 arrows ready. And along with this, we are shown that monster, which is actually a titan, whose danger level is 3 stars. And at this time we see that the girl shoots those arrows, that titan, but that titan very easily stopped those arrows using just its hand. And seeing this, the girl is quite surprised, and she is thinking, my arrows are of no use. This way I will be killed at the hands of this monster. And at that moment that monster once again launches another very powerful attack at the girl. But we see that the girl, by taking a very high jump, had dodged that attack. And along with that, she had prepared 3 more arrows, which she shoots at the monster. Would you like me to translate the next set of lines for you? These arrows go and hit the monster, but they don't make any difference to the monster. and at that same time the monster comes running to attack the girl. But at that moment we see that the girl pulls out one of her arrows and she is thinking, I must use my strongest skill here, but I can only use it once. But we see that the girl has activated this technique of hers, and we see that the girl, to her arrow, she had made her arrow completely ready to shoot. It is very powerful, because of which a very massive explosion occurs at that spot, which can be seen from far away. She is thinking that this attack of mine is very strong and the monster cannot escape this attack. But at that same time, the girl becomes extremely shocked, and we are shown that in reality when the girl shot that arrow, the Titan had jumped and climbed onto the trees, because of which it did not suffer any damage. And seeing this, the girl is completely traumatized. She is thinking, did it really dodge my powerful attack so easily? Am I really going to die at the hands of this monster today? We see that the monster comes down to the ground and very quickly, toward the girl, comes running, and just then it is about to catch the girl. But at that same moment some person has attacked the monster, and we are shown that this person is none other than our hero. Seeing him, the girl is also quite surprised, and we see that Jay's attack is so powerful that the monster falls to the ground, and at that moment Jay also sits on a tree. Along with this he is thinking, I delivered my attack to the monster's chin, which must have given its neck a massive jolt. But this attack of mine is not enough to kill this monster. We see that truly nothing happened to the monster, and it is currently climbing the same tree. On which would you like me to continue translating the next set of lines for this scene? Jay is sitting, and at that time we see that Jay pulls out an artifact from his possession, and we see that he jumps straight toward that monster. And seeing this, the girl is quite surprised, and she is thinking, what is this boy doing? That monster will kill him. And we see that the monster also jumps and is about to launch a very powerful attack on Jay. But at that moment Jay shouts, close your eyes quickly. And hearing this, the girl is quite surprised. And at that time we see that Jay has reached very close to the monster. And at that moment he activates that artifact of his. And along with this he also closes his eyes. And we see that because of using this artifact, there is a blinding light at that place. And this light is so powerful that even the monster cannot see anything in this light. Regarding this, we see that Jay jumps and lands on the ground, and we see that the monster is screaming a lot at this time, because it cannot see anything right now. And along with this Jay says, shit man, I could only use this artifact one more time, and I hadn't thought that I would use it so soon after entering the dungeon. And with this we are told about this artifact, that it is a very special artifact. It is called a stunning torch, and it is made with the scales of a very special fish found in the sea. And this torch is so powerful that for a while can blind even a very powerful monster. But if it is used on a human, the human will be blinded forever. That is why this artifact is also quite dangerous. After which Jay sees that the girl is also perfectly fine and nothing has happened to her. After which he is walking past the girl and he says, you only have a few seconds left, because would you like me to translate the final part of this sequence for you? In a short while this monster will be fine again. So hurry up now and get out of here. And after saying this, Jay very quickly starts running away from that place. And while running, Jay remembers his boss's words, where Jay's boss was saying, Jay, if you ever meet someone in the dungeon, and if they are in trouble, you can help them. But do not trust that person, because you also know about this, that even on a normal smuggler, a $5 million bounty has been placed. Therefore, no matter what happens, keep yourself hidden from people. And with this, Jay is running away from there very quickly. But at that moment he turns around to look back. And we see that the girl he had helped is also very quickly running behind Jay. And she is quite out of breath at this moment. We see that Jay starts running from there even faster. And seeing this, the girl is quite surprised. And she sees that Jay has vanished from in front of her very rapidly. And seeing this, the girl is thinking, where did that boy go? He was just right in front of me. How did he disappear so suddenly and quickly? At that moment someone grabs the girl and pushes her to the ground. And it's none other than Jay himself. And Jay says to her, you foolish girl, what on earth are you doing? Have you gone mad? Why are you following me? Then the girl says, don't misunderstand me, I just wanted to say thanks. Hearing this he says, do you take me for a fool? I know why you are following me, because I am a smuggler. Then the girl says, please don't misunderstand me. I know you are a smuggler, but I had no bad motive for following you. Anyway, he sees that on the girl's clothes there is the emblem of Warrior High School. Would you like me to translate the next part of this encounter, or any other scene for you? At that moment the girl says, I want to offer you a job. So he lets her go, and while leaving he says to her, I have no interest in your job, and yes, if you try to follow me I will bury you right here in this forest. Hearing this, the girl is also quite surprised, and we see that when Jay is leaving from there, Syra says to him, I know that on a normal smuggler there is a 5 million bounty, but if that same smuggler is a professional, then a total bounty of 50 million won is placed on them. Hearing this, Jay gets very angry and says, what did you say? But at that same time Jay becomes quite surprised, because he sees that the girl has pulled out a very valuable artifact from her possession, and she says, this artifact I have is extremely valuable, and even if I catch 5 smugglers like you, even then the price of this necklace cannot be matched, and I can give this necklace to you if you help me, and you don't have to do much for me. My name is Syra and I am a student at Warrior High School, and today is my midterm exam. I just want you to help me pass my midterm exam. Hearing this, Jay says, I thought you were just a foolish girl who came here to be killed by that monster. But you aren't just foolish, you are also a spoiled brat of rich parents. Hearing this, Syra says, what difference does it make? You should just think that this could be a very big opportunity for you, and you shouldn't waste it, because even after this necklace, if you want, I am ready to make more payments to you. Hearing this, Jay says, you really are very annoying, but perhaps you don't know. I told you that we only have a few seconds left. Would you like me to translate the next part of this deal? After which this Titan will attack us again. And hearing this, Syra is quite surprised, and along with this it is shown that the Titan is very quickly coming toward them to launch an attack. And at that moment the Titan launches a very powerful attack at them, but both of them jump and dodge the attack. But at that same time, Jay throws his spear towards Syra, which Syra also catches, and because of this, Syra is also quite surprised. But at that moment Jay shouts, don't just stand there now. Quickly, that technique which you used on your arrow to attack this Titan, use that technique on my spear and throw the spear toward me, after which I will attack this monster myself. So hearing this, Syra is quite surprised and she shouts, what on earth are you saying? I had used up too much of my mana back then, and now very little mana is left in my body. Hearing this, Jay says, if that is truly the case, then both of us will be killed here. Do whatever it takes, but throw my weapon toward me. And we see that the monster is also coming to attack Jay. And at that time we see Syra, who is charging Jay's spear. And along with this she is thinking, only 1/4 of the mana is left in my body, which I am going to use on this spear. But will this boy really be able to defeat this monster? And we see that the monster is attacking Jay. And Jay very quickly is dodging all those attacks while running. And at that moment Syra throws the spear toward Jay, which Jay catches very easily, and along with this we see that Syra is very exhausted at this moment. She is thinking, I have charged his spear, but now there is no mana left in my body at all, that which she had activated inside the arrow. I cannot feel it in my spear. Would you like me to translate the next set of lines for this battle? Meaning you have infused very little mana into it, but it seems I will have to make do with just this much. And with this we see that Jay with very high speed has moved forward to attack the monster, and at the same time, the narrator tells us, there is only one way to defeat a very powerful monster. First, analyze the monster's movements, after which, by looking for an opportunity, at the right moment, attack the monster very rapidly, and deliver that attack to such a weak spot of the monster, through which you can kill the monster very easily. And we see that the monster has attacked Jay very forcefully, but Jay dodges the attack and very quickly goes to launch an attack on the monster. And at that moment Jay delivers a very powerful attack on the monster's neck. And we see that Jay's attack is so powerful that with this single attack he has killed the Titan monster. And seeing Jay's dangerous power, Syra is extremely surprised, and Syra is thinking, wow, this person is very powerful. And along with this, a previous memory of Syra is shown where we see that Syra belongs to a very powerful and rich family, and since childhood, She possessed every single thing that a normal human desires to achieve. And not only that, but Syra is the daughter of an elf, who is a very powerful hunter, but the one thing Syra liked very much was to protect her country by becoming a hunter. And Syra wanted to become a very powerful hunter since childhood. And along with this, the next scene is shown, where Syra's teachers are training her and they are saying, Syra, you are truly very weak. It is very difficult to believe that you actually have elf blood in you, because an elf's body is very strong. Would you like me to translate the next set of subtitles to see how Syra responds to her teacher? Whereas your body is very weak. And along with this we see Syra, whose condition at this time is very bad, and she is completely out of breath. And along with this, that teacher says to that person, should you really be doing all this? After all, what is the need for you to push her so much? Do you really want this girl to become a hunter? And we are shown that here. Syra's father is also present, whose name is Jin Song, who is the department head of the Incheon group in Syra's father, and he is saying, I haven't pushed Syra at all. The decision to become a hunter was made by Syra herself. I am just cheering her on so that she doesn't consider herself weak. Hearing this, that person says, I know that, but do you know, this is no normal human. Rather, she has elf blood inside her body as well. And if you look at it, compared to a normal human, Syra has more potential within her. But when people see that she is an elf, but even after being an elf she is so weak, then she will be mocked a lot in the future. That's why I want her to give up on becoming a hunter right now. But Jinsung, do you know one thing? Since I have been training your daughter, I have realized that this girl is never going to give up. And I also feel that if she doesn't lose heart and keeps training herself like this, then one day she will make herself a very powerful hunter. In this way we are told about Syra that Syra since childhood has trained herself very hard. And after a lot of training, Syra has made herself so strong that she is one of the strongest archers in Warrior High School. But to make herself this strong, Syra had to struggle a lot. And not only that, but in the entire Warrior High School, Syra doesn't have a single friend, and she always feels very lonely. With this we are shown the present scene where Syra is very surprised to see Jay's power. And at that moment we see that when that titan falls to the ground there is a fairly large explosion. And along, would you like me to translate the next part of this story for you? Along with that we see that the titan is dead by now. And with that Jay comes out of the smoke and approaches Syra. With that we see Syra, who is quite surprised at this moment, and she says, this boy's age is exactly the same as mine, so how on earth is this person so strong? While even after training since childhood, I haven't been able to make myself this strong yet. Along with this person we see Jay, who is thinking about his glasses, and he remembers his boss's words where his boss was saying, take care of the glasses, they are quite valuable. So Jay says, sir, what is expensive in this? Such glasses can be found in the market for 1 or 200 won. So hearing this, his boss says, idiot, these glasses have been made using special magic, and it protects your eyes from magic, so that your eyes don't get damaged, and its total price is 1 million. And just thinking about this, Jay is getting quite angry right now, and he is thinking, damn it, my boss will again deduct the money for this equipment from my salary. Just then he sees that Syra has come near him, and she says, I have never seen you in our school before. This clearly means that you are not in our warrior school. Surely you are some senior student of another big hunter school, which is why you are so powerful. So hearing this, Jay says, what nonsense are you talking? First, give me the thing that you promised me. Just hearing this, Syra gives him her necklace, which Jay also takes immediately. And looking at that necklace, he is thinking, this necklace looks real, but if I sell this in the black market, approximately how much price will I get for it? And he is still thinking all of this. But at that moment Syra asks him, the fees of our warrior high school are very high. Maybe that's why you are not in our warrior high school. And I think you are perhaps a student of some other big school. And just to pay the fees there, you have become a dungeon smuggler, am I right? Then Jay says, no, would you like me to translate the next part of their conversation? You are absolutely wrong, because I am not a student of any school, and to this day I have never been to school. So hearing this, Syra is quite surprised, and she says, what? Right then she says, I understand you must be self-taught, that's why you are so strong. Then Jay says, no, it's nothing like that. Hearing this, Syra is very surprised, and she shouts and says, What on earth are you talking about? You must definitely be lying to me, but he had become angry. But she checks the school ID and she finds out that Jay really isn't a student of any hunter school rather. He is a student of a very normal school, and because of this Saira is quite surprised. And she is saying, you really are just a high school student, but you are still so very strong. But at that same time we see that Jay has pointed his weapon towards Saira, and he says, come on, hurry up and give me your school ID. Give it here once. Saira has given him her student ID, on which Saira's information is given. After reading that information, Jay keeps that student ID with him. So seeing this, Saira is saying, what on earth are you doing? Return my ID to me. Then he says, no, I won't return this because it's necessary for me to have your information. Saira says, what? What will you do with my information? Then he says, don't worry, I'll tell you now, just come near me. So hearing this, Saira is quite surprised, and she says, what do you mean by that? But at that moment, Jay grabs her by the shoulder and pulls her close. And seeing this, Saira is quite surprised, and says while blushing, what are you doing? At that same time we see that Jay has taken out his mobile and he says, don't worry, I won't do anything to you. We are just going to take a selfie. Hearing this, Saira says, what? Would you like me to translate the next part of this unexpected interaction? But why do you want to take a selfie with me? Then he says, giving a rather dangerous smile, did you not understand? This selfie will be very useful to me later because if you give my information to any person outside, and if anyone catches me later, then I will tell everyone that I work for you. And hearing this, Saira gets quite terrified. But along with this, he takes his selfie with Saira, after which the next scene is shown where Jay is saying to Saira, okay, tell me, what exactly is your midterm test? And in what way can I help you with it? Then Saira tells him, 2 golden coins have to be collected from this forest, which have been hidden here beforehand by our school. And we have been told about the places where all the coins are kept. But the problem here is not the coins, rather the monsters of this forest, avoiding whom we have to obtain these coins. With this, Saira says, I have obtained 1 golden coin. In which place is the second golden coin located? Then Saira says it is kept near the cave. Hearing this, Jay is quite surprised and he says, what? Then Saira says, what happened? Why are you getting so surprised? Then Jay says, actually, the thing is that the place where I had to go is also the same place because the ethereal web's royal jelly is present there. Just hearing this, Saira is quite surprised, and along with this, he says, well, shall I tell you one thing? The Titan monster that we have killed. These monsters are not usually in this place, because their area is quite far from here. But they are still present here, which means this monster has come here attracted by smelling the royal jelly. Since royal jelly is present in this mall, there could be many more monsters near it. Hearing this, Saira is getting quite worried, but he says, don't worry, where are the other coins? We can obtain the other coins. But Saira says, no, would you like me to translate the next part to find out why Saira said no? There are no more coins available, because the rest of the party members have already obtained all those coins. Hearing this, Jay is quite surprised and he is thinking, what does she mean by party members? Meaning that the other students who had come with her, they have all divided themselves into parties, but no one came along with Saira, and she is searching for these coins all alone. To this, Jay says, don't you worry, I will help you obtain that coin. Alright, now tell me, how much are you going to pay me in return? Then Saira says, 1 billion. I am ready to give you 1 billion. Hearing this, Jay is extremely surprised and he says, what? 1 billion? Seeing Jay's reaction, Saira says, if this is not enough, I can talk to my dad and get you even more money. To this, Jay says, oh no, there is no need for that, this much money is enough. I am ready to help you. After which, the next scene is shown where Jay and Saira are running towards the mall. But along with this, Saira is thinking, this person is very fast, has he really never trained in any hunter school? But at the same time we see Jay who is thinking, shit man, it was such a good opportunity to make money, but why did I like a fool agree so quickly? I should have negotiated a bit more with her, and I should have asked her for even more money. While running, Saira says, are you telling the truth? Has really no one ever given you training? Hearing this, Jay says, oh yes, I am telling the truth. Now stop asking me about this repeatedly. Hearing this, Saira is thinking, wow, this boy is very amazing. But at that moment we see that Jay notices something here, and we are shown that there are 2 monsters present here, which are class raptors. Their danger level is 2-star, and these monsters have also been seen by Syra, and she immediately stops right there. But at that moment we see Jay, who very quickly is going to attack those monsters, and at that moment, he attacks the neck of one monster with his spear, and Jay had plunged his spear into that monster's neck, and he kills it right there. And then, Jay sees that Syra has killed the other monster with her arrows, and with this Syra is saying, Jay, do you know about this? It is very weird. These monsters that are present here are alien-type monsters, and they are always in groups of 5 or 10 monsters, but here only 2 monsters are present. But where on earth are their other companions? So he says, you don't need to think so much. I think all the other monsters are waiting for us inside. That's why I feel we need to enter this mall in such a way that we can avoid those monsters. But at that moment Syra says to Jay, Jay, your spearmanship is quite good. I think you have worked very hard on your spearmanship since childhood. Hearing this, Jay says, what on earth are you saying? I have never trained with a spear. I just saw one person using a spear very well, and I memorized all those movements, and the way that person used that spear. I also use my spear in the same way. Hearing this, Syra goes into deep shock, and she becomes completely silent, and she is thinking, is such a thing even possible? I have trained so much since childhood to become an archer, while he learned spearmanship just by watching one person. Just then Jay says, Syra, are you okay? Why don't you say anything? But at that moment Syra speaks very angrily. I didn't like you. You are very useless. Hearing this, Jay is also quite surprised, and he says, what are you saying all of a sudden? But at that same moment she throws something toward Jay, which Jay also catches, and he sees that it is actually a potion vial. Its total price is 1 million, and with that Syra says, what are you looking at? It's a mana restoring potion. Drink it quickly before entering the mall. Would you like me to translate the scene where they enter the mall? And drink it quickly. With this, your health will be completely restored. Hearing this, Jay is saying, wow, you really are a member of a rich family. And with that, he puts the potion in his pocket. Seeing this, Syra says, what on earth are you doing? I told you to drink it. So he says, don't worry, this is very useful to me. I will sell it in the black market later. Hearing this, Syra is saying, what are you even saying? I told you to drink it. Do you not care about your health at all? To this he says, I am perfectly fine, and I cannot use such an expensive potion just for my health. Hearing this, Syra is quite surprised, and she is thinking, this boy is very weird. After which the next scene is shown, where he and Syra are both sitting together, and with this he is saying, Syra, our mission is to obtain the coin from here. No matter how many monsters are inside, we have to go in quietly and get that gold coin for you. From now on we will work exactly like a team, and you will follow my orders just as I say. Hearing this, Syra also agrees to it, and along with this Syra is thinking, I have never joined any team before today. Will I really be able to do what Jay is expecting of me? After which Jay says, Syra, there is no monster present here. I think we should head inside. After that, both of them walking arrive at the front gate of the mall, but at that moment both of them are very shocked. And with this, Syra says, what on earth is this? And he says, I hadn't thought that we would see such a sight here. And with this, it is shown that here, all the monsters that were present have already been killed very brutally by some person. Would you like me to translate the next part to reveal who killed those monsters? Killed. But just then they see that a monster is present right in front of them, and looking at this monster, Syra is quite surprised, and she is thinking, what kind of monster is this? Did this single monster kill all these other monsters? Is this monster really so powerful? But Jay says, Syra, you don't need to panic. I told you I will help you obtain your gold coin. Hearing this, Syra also agrees to it, and along with this we see that and with this we are told about this monster, whose name is Slasher, and this monster's danger level is 5 stars. We see that Jay attacks this monster very rapidly, but at that moment the monster attacks Jay with its tongue. However, Jay hits its tongue very hard with his spear, but he sees that the monster has actually caught Jay's spear, and the monster threw that spear very quickly, pulls Jay toward its mouth, but Jay lets go of the spear, due to which he reaches the ceiling of the mall, and by kicking the ceiling very hard with his feet, he comes rushing toward the monster with great speed, and at that moment he delivers a very powerful kick to the monster, and because of this attack, the monster starts screaming. but the monster is not completely dead yet. With this we see that Jay taking his spear has come back to Syra, and Syra is saying, Jay, what exactly is the problem? Why is this monster screaming so much? Then Jay says, Syra, perhaps you don't know, but this monster works exactly like an alarm. Many hunters use it as an alarm, so that if any person comes, people find out about it. Hearing this, Syra is quite surprised and she says, Jay, what exactly do you mean by saying this? Do you mean to say that some other person is present here, who has set this monster here like a trap? And along with, would you like me to translate the reveal of who set the trap? With that, it is shown that some person has arrived there, who says to both of them, I thought I could complete some of my sleep, but you two woke me up way too early. You people are truly very annoying. Seeing this person here, Syra is quite surprised. She says, after all, who is this person? Is this some hunter? But along with this, she sees that Jay is not saying anything at all. But then we see that the person jumps from that floor straight down to the first floor. And with that he says, girl, you don't look like a smuggler. Are you a student of Warrior High School? Then Syra says, yes, I am a student of Warrior High School. Then that person says, girl, this is very unfortunate for you. You are going to die at such a young age. Just then Jay says, Syra, are you an idiot? What do you think? Is this some school teacher of yours, to whom you are answering all these questions? This person is a smuggler and he won't think even once before killing us. After which Jay says to that person, after all, who are you and what do you want from us? That person says, kid, I have also come here in search of the same thing that you are looking for, royal jelly. Now you will think how I know about this thing, so let me tell you about that as well. One day suddenly a white rank hunter contacted one of my associates and asked him to take that royal jelly and sell it, and that person didn't tell anyone about this thing, but I knew about it, after which I followed him and attacked him, but that scoundrel escaped from me. However, following his tracks, I have reached this mall and I am absolutely sure that he must have hidden that royal jelly somewhere around here. Hearing this, Jay is thinking, the boss told me that monsters had killed that smuggler, but the real reason is that the smuggler was killed by one of his own friends. But will I be able to defeat this person? Because I can feel, would you like me to translate the next part of this confrontation? I can feel that this person is much stronger than me. And with that, we see that this person has also drawn his sword. And he says, kid, don't you worry. I will try my best so that you don't feel any pain while dying. Because of this, Syra, that person with great speed, reaches Jay and with his katana, launches an extremely dangerous attack on Jay. But at that moment we see that Jay has blocked that attack with his weapon and he shouts and says, idiot, what on earth are you doing? I said get out of here. We see that Syra starts running away from there very quickly. Seeing this, that person says, I thought you two were friends, but that girl really left you and ran away from here. But will doing so really save her life? At that moment he very quickly comes to attack Jay, and with that he says, even though that girl has run away, don't worry. After killing you, I will go and kill her too. And we see that he, with great speed, is launching extremely dangerous attacks on Jay. But at that moment we see Jay also release his powerful aura. He is thinking, I can defeat him if I use my father's techniques. And at that moment he launches a very forceful attack on that person, and because of this attack, that person is also quite surprised. But just then Jay very quickly approaches that person and by landing a very forceful kick on his face throws him very far away, because of which a fairly large explosion occurs here. But along with this, that person says, you have surprised me quite a lot. I didn't think that you could attack me in this manner as well. This means you were hiding your skills. But don't worry. I have decided that I should also show you my full power. Would you like me to translate the next part of this high-stakes battle? And that's why now I won't show you any mercy at all, and now I am going to give you an extremely painful death. And along with this, it is shown that this person has worn some very powerful armor on his body. 1509, and with this we are told about this person, whose name is Yangda Neon, who is actually a gold-class hunter. Regarding him, next we are also shown a scene of Jay's boss where we see that person making and eating noodles for himself, and that bald person is also present here, to whom the boss is asking, don't look at my food like that. If you want to eat, you can order some for yourself and taste it. That bald person says, no, I don't want any. Anyway, tell me how much longer this fool is going to take to come to his senses? I have been spending a lot of money on him for a long time, but I didn't know that he is just trash and cannot even handle a smuggler. Hearing this, the boss says, you think that this person is completely useless, but saying that would be entirely wrong, because there is a huge difference between a hunter and a smuggler. A hunter always makes himself strong by fighting monsters, but a smuggler has to face many more difficulties where often smugglers have to fight hunters to escape from them. That is why smugglers have quite a lot of experience in combat fighting. Hearing this, the bald person is quite surprised, and he says, so is this the reason that boy was so powerful? But hunters also fight among themselves. Are hunters not stronger than smugglers? Then the boss says, I am not saying that smugglers are stronger than hunters. Hunters are much more powerful than smugglers, because as hunters keep making themselves stronger, their skills reach a very advanced level. And to tell you the truth, this bodyguard of yours, would you like me to translate the boss's full explanation of the power gap? Was quite powerful, but he doesn't have any combat fighting experience at all, because he probably used his power only to hunt monsters, and he never paid attention to his combat skills. That was the reason this person was so weak. Then the bald person asks, so can these hunters only become powerful through their training? Is there no other way by which they can increase their combat skills even more? Then the boss says, in our world there are many such dungeons present from which we get very powerful equipment, and many of these pieces of equipment are such that, after wearing them, the user's strength and their combat skills increase significantly. Because of this, they become much more powerful, and with that, we are shown Jay's scene where Jay is thinking, I have never seen this kind of suit before, but a very strong smell of blood is coming from his suit, and perhaps this suit has been made using a vampire's body. In that moment, it is shown that the person, while smiling broadly, is walking toward Jay, and Jay is thinking, I landed a very powerful kick on this person's face, but it didn't seem to make much of a difference to him, because he immediately put on his suit. Just then we see that the person is coming to attack Jay, and he is saying, what exactly are you thinking so much about? I think we should start our fight now. And he launches a very powerful attack on Jay, but Jay had blocked that attack with his spear. However, Jay notices that this person's strength has now increased significantly. Then that person lands a very powerful kick in Jay's stomach, throwing him very far away, but Jay somehow manages to steady himself. But at that moment, that person, with great speed, has reached Jay, and he starts attacking Jay with his katana sword, and we see that he is very rapidly inflicting cuts on Jay's body, and along with this, that person is shouting and saying, what on earth are you doing? Is this all you've got? Would you like me to translate the next part of this intense battle? Why are you not fighting properly? I thought you were very strong, but you are just trash. And along with this, we are told that the jacket this person was wearing on his body has a side effect. Its name is the sheath jacket, and this jacket is made using a vampire's body, and whenever the user covers this jacket on their body, in return this jacket from that person's body drinks their blood, and in this way this armor keeps making itself even stronger. And with that, we see that the person is coming to launch a very powerful attack on Jay once again, and Jay is thinking, if I don't dodge this attack, I might even die here. At that moment, we see that he delivers a very heavy attack on Jay's body, due to which a cut has been made on Jay's stomach. And with that, that person, laughing quite a lot, is saying, you are very useless. I'm not enjoying fighting you at all anymore, so I think I should finish you off now. But at that moment, Jay says to that person, I think today is some special day, since I am having to face so many difficulties today. And at this time we see that Jay throws away his jacket, and he says, you are not as strong as I thought. I just wanted to see how much of this suit's power you can actually use properly. But you are completely useless even with this suit, because even after using this suit, your speed hasn't improved much more than before. Hearing this, that person gets very angry, and cursing Jay, he says, you bastard, I will kill you. After that, we see Jay, who is perfectly ready to fight that person, and he is thinking, this person is very angry right now, and I can take advantage of this. This time we see that master comes with great speed to attack Jay. Would you like me to translate the final showdown between Jay and the smuggler? Is coming, and at that moment he launches a very dangerous attack on Jay, and at that time we see that Jay moves forward with great speed, and while releasing his aura, he uses his father's first technique on that vampire to deliver a very powerful attack, due to which that monster and Jay both get pushed back. But at that very moment, he activates his father's second technique and he launches another extremely powerful attack on that monster. We see that as soon as this attack hits that monster's body, that monster is thrown very far away from that spot, and Jay's attack was so powerful that it caused a very large explosion here. But we see that because of using this second technique, he has become quite injured, and he is thinking, all of my father's techniques are very powerful, but I cannot use all these techniques in such a reckless manner. Otherwise I will damage my own body. After which, that same person is shown who is in a state of great shock, and he is saying, how did you do this? That attack of yours was incredibly powerful. Then Jay says, your time is up. Now you will die at my hands, because I know that your suit has also become very weak after my attack. At that very moment, we see that this person has pulled out a dagger from his possession and says while laughing loudly, fool, do you really think I will die at your hands so easily? If I have to die, I will take you down with me. At that moment he stabs the dagger into his own body, and seeing this Jay is also quite surprised. After that we are shown Cyrus' next scene, because she has reached the main point where that coin was kept, and we see that there is a device there. Would you like me to translate the next part where Syra tries to retrieve the coin? Placed there, on which Syra places her hand, through which it scans her hand and confirms that Syra is a student of Warrior High School and she can take the coin. After that Syra takes the coin with a smile, and she is thinking, finally I have obtained this coin. But at that very moment a massive earthquake occurs in that place, and because of this earthquake, Syra becomes quite terrified. And after the earthquake ends, Syra is thinking, he is fighting that person all alone over there, and he had told me to leave from here. But shouldn't I help him? Because we both are members of the same party. And along with this, Syra is thinking, that person was very strong. Will I really be able to be of any help to Jay? And we see that Syra is thinking about these things. After that we are again shown the scene of that person, from whose body an extremely powerful aura is being unleashed at this time. And along with this he says while laughing a lot, this human wants me to kill you. In exchange for this he is ready to sacrifice his own body for me. And with this we are shown that by stabbing his own body, the power of this jacket has increased significantly, and this person has now completely turned into a vampire. And seeing this, Jay is saying, I like this jacket quite a lot, and I was thinking that I should also have a jacket just like it, but seeing your condition like this, I think I am better off without this jacket. At this time we see that the monster very quickly launches an extremely powerful attack on Jay, but we see that Jay had dodged that attack very rapidly. But at that same moment the monster, once again with great speed, launches an attack on Jay. But this time Jay is unable to dodge the attack, and this attack hits Jay, and it is shown to us that he is currently very much, would you like me to translate the next part of this brutal transformation battle? Injured, and his shirt is also torn. And along with that the monster is saying, you even block such a powerful attack of mine, but you too have reached your limit now, and I don't think you will be able to block even one more of my attacks. But at that moment we see that Jay has taken out the healing potion he had, and he is drinking it. Along with this we see that the monster is very excited to kill Jay at this time, and he launches an extremely powerful attack on Jay. But we see that Jay with great speed is running directly toward the monster, and it is shown that Jay's health has been recovered once again. And with that the monster is shouting and saying, do you really think you will be able to kill me? You cannot do that. But we see that Jay, dodging the monster's attacks, has reached quite close to the monster. But at that moment the monster comes in front of Jay and says, do you really think you can defeat me? You won't be able to do that. And at that time the monster launches an extremely powerful attack on Jay. And this attack is just about to hit Jay. But at that moment that person has launched a very powerful attack on the monster. And seeing this attack, Jay is also quite surprised. And he sees that this attack was done by none other than Syra. And seeing this, Jay says, wow, you have truly won my heart. And because of this attack, the monster has taken a lot of damage. And at this time we see that Jay activates his full power, and he delivers another extremely powerful attack on the monster. After that we are shown the next scene where we see that person lying unconscious on the ground, and Jay is taking pictures of that person. Seeing this, Syra is saying, "Why on earth are you taking his pictures? What will you do with them?" Then Jay says, "These pictures will be useful to me in the future. Would you like me to translate the next scene to see what Jay plans to do with those photos?" After which we see that Jay goes and picks up his jacket and he says, "Syra, we should leave from here now. I also have to go and find that ethereal web jelly. But yes, thank you very much. If you hadn't come here, this monster would have killed me. You have saved my life." And look, hearing this, Syra is feeling quite shy. But along with that she shouts and says, "I only helped you because I thought you were my party member, so I should help you." But we see that Jay, while walking away from there, is smiling and he is thinking, "This girl is quite good at heart." And friends, how did you like this series? Do let me know by commenting. And friends, I want to give you all a target of 10k likes on this episode. If you complete 10k likes on this video, then I will understand that you found this series very enjoyable, and I should bring its next episode as soon as possible. So see you in the next episode. Until then, goodbye and stay connected. Thank you. That was the end of the episode. Would you like me to translate anything else or help you with another story?